This is a universal book. This is about emotional intelligence, and my great belief that EQ is growing in incredible importance around business, and not in the way that the world is working right now, where we're trying to put a lot of pressure on better behavior.
Yep.
This is, oh, by the way, being kind was always the actual way to make more money.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So welcome to another episode of the Cadence with just Bobby.T. And today we're going back into the past, where I'm going to re-release an episode I did with Gary Vaynerchuk, where I had a chance to interview him prior to his release of 12 and a half ingredients. And in this discussion, we kind of go into a range of topics. What is the perfect combination of ingredients when it comes to business and entrepreneurship? Dove in and asked him a question about how could Black entrepreneurs sort of take advantage of some of the resources that are now presented to them for the first time? And more importantly, how can they start to capitalize on some of these activities? Let me know in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway from this episode with Gary V?
Welcome. You're now listening to Just Bobby.T.
Big fan of your work. Been following you for a number of years. Amazing book that you have coming up. I'm super excited for it. Got my 36 copies.
Smart.
And really excited to really digest.
Yes.
And digest it from the standpoint that, for myself, to give you quick context, I come from business world. I have my own small little micro production company, work with a lot of business organizations, and I do a lot of non-for-profit work.
Yes.
Where I'm a board member for a lot of Black-serving, Black-led organizations like the Federation of Black Canadians, another organization called the Jamaica Association of Alberta, and so always working around communities.
I love that.
And I'm curious and wondering, I've been seeing for each week on the road, 12, I think it's called,
Yes.
I've been reading a lot of great insights. And I'm wondering, for the people who are not really aware of this book, what insights will they get from that in respect to community? And if you could, my audience is really focused around sort of creators and Black creators.
I love it. I think, one of the great things about what I wrote about in this book is it's omnipresent. Whether you're an immigrant from Jamaica, which is a very different Black Canadian than an immigrant from Chicago, or a Russian immigrant, or a high net worth, third generation rich, Californian. This is a universal book. This is about emotional intelligence, and my great belief that EQ is growing in incredible importance around business, and not in the way that the world is working right now, where we're trying to really, lovely, and complicated, put a lot of pressure on better behavior.
Yep.
That's more guilt. That's more cancel culture. That's more trying to lift us up and be better.
Yep.
I would call inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Challenge. I mean, we're in interesting times.
100%.
This is actually slightly different. This is, oh, by the way, being kind was always the actual way to make more money.
100%.
And that's like a profoundly weird statement I've come to realize. And that came through the journey of me asking myself in my mid 30s, early 40s, like, why is this working for me?
Yep.
Forget about everybody else. And I've observed a lot of people winning. And more importantly, why am I ascending up?
Yep.
While a lot of people at my age and skill set, hard skills,
yep,
why are they descending down? And my belief is that bad behavior in business, rough elbows, stepping on people, not giving a shit about your admin or the person that served you your meal,
100%.
you could get away with it for a while.
Not anymore. Not with
Well, it's funny. That's where this is why it's funny. I haven't really started doing interviews about this book. Not anymore, comma, I'm worried that so much so that people will become tone deaf to it, and canceling will become white noise. And in a weird way, it might even have a negative reaction the other way. I'm actually a little bit worried about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That there's so much tension. This is a little bit of a different thing. This is more built on emotional intelligence, being accountable, or things that aren't even, let's say, a little bit more heavy. Curiosity.
Yep.
I go very deep into curiosity in this book. I didn't realize how much that worked for me.
Yep.
I talk about these 13 traits, 12 and a half, because one of them I'm still struggling with, kind candor, which blows people away because Gary V, the persona, is so good at candor, but Gary Vaynerchuk, the executive, really struggled with confrontation all through his 20s, well into his 30s.
Yep.
And only when I started rebranding it as kind candor did I even get comfortable with candor, and that's like a 3-year phenomenon.
Cool.
But I talk about these traits in ingredients form.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I didn't realize how much people struggle with the following sentence. I am ambitious and tenacious while being ridiculously patient.
Because they're almost like contradictions. And
Correct.
at times we feel, how could you have those qualities, but they
But
kind of
to your
push
point,
back.
but it's the whole point.
Totally.
To me, conviction and empathy can seem like a contradiction. I have crazy conviction and crazy empathy. And so I started realizing I'm a little weird in a good way. Oh, I started seeing other people like, they're a little weird. Oh, that's working. That guy's a little weird. Working. She's weird. It's working. And I was like, this thing is not being talked about enough. And so back to the temperature we're in the world.
Yeah.
I believe that the quickest way by far to get happier is through accountability and optimism. Right? Optimism of like, you're just gonna choose and say the world sucks or you're not.
Totally.
Like you can easily go either way right now.
Totally.
And then accountability is, what am I gonna do about it?
Yeah.
And
using
so
that as like your North Star and your guidance.
I just, accountability has made me a good leader. And so in the book, I talk a lot about, you come into a company, I do a lot of scenarios. You come into a company and your best friend, out of 39 people that come into a company, you make best friends with somebody. You and I come in the same company at the same time. And we happen to be the best 2 of this class.
Yep.
And then you get the promotion. What do I do about it? And I really start breaking down, humility, kind candor, go speak to the manager, patience, I'm happy for my guy, I'm gonna get in 6 months, versus so much of what we see in the world now, which is the opposite of the scenario I just wrote. And so I really went there. What's the emotional framework that has gotten me here, and what do I see in a lot of others that has worked? And I decided to put it on paper. This is an emotional intelligence alpha business book. And the reason I say alpha business book, this is to win. This is honey empire, honey over vinegar, but I'm building an empire.
And that's so awesome to hear, because again, I imagine it's the right ingredients and the right mix to keep that going and hit those targets. Because I'm not just sure if you're fully aware, but here in Canada, I've been learning lots about sort of the value of building audience through this group called Learn.community. And one of the things I've realized here in Canada, because of the government recognizing some of the systemic issues, they're putting a lot of resources to Black Canadians to now start their own businesses, creating loan programs, they're putting funding in place. And so we're going to see a lot of Black entrepreneurs emerging in this community. And I'm wondering if you could, for like, I guess, the last little tidbits, what ingredients would
beautiful
help
question.
those groups?
And beautiful question. If you look at the history of time in the last 200 years of modern man and woman, this is a very important moment. To your point, so I think about all the Black entrepreneurs in Canada that are gonna have this huge opportunity. When you look at when opportunity like this comes along, they go in 2 very extreme cases. One is because the money came easy. My granddaddy was suppressed. I'm 24. Of course, I felt racism, but I just got a bag. And it's no different than being a 3rd generation rich kid and you have entitlement and you waste it. Number 2, perspective of, oh my God, this is a crazy opportunity, but let me really be thoughtful, patient. The biggest, when people come into money in any shape or form, lotto, they earned it themselves. Government grants when there's reconciliation. Fast money is often spent poorly up front, even with good intent. I'm not talking cliche, everyone, what they're thinking about, get a Ferrari. I'm talking, you've never had $100,000 to spend quick and you think you should just get an office. right? Like,
Yeah.
or you hire 2 people quickly for 150K, but if you didn't have it, you would have hired them for 60K. By the way, I'm me, and I believe in me, and I've made mistakes when there's been a little bit too much. Fundraise, when I started my first fund, I spent money quicker than I did when it was my own money. So I think the thing to think about is patience,
Yep.
accountability
Yep.
to yourself the whole time. And I do think that tenacity is gonna matter because you've gotta have real optimism around it as well. I'll tell you why. That money's gonna come,
Yep.
and then like every business on earth, some things aren't gonna be working as well, and you're gonna say, I used to have, I'm making these numbers up.
Yep.
I used to have 100K, now I have 23K. I'm a year and a half in and it's not going well. That's gonna scare somebody. Cause you're like, I only got 23 of the 100 left and it's not going well. What the fuck have I been doing for 18 months? And so like, just take it easy, be thoughtful, and most of all, which is a big part of the book, be self-aware. When you get it, know what you're good at. Are you good at photography or do you just want to be good at photography? Are you good at fashion or do you just want to be good at fashion? Be very self-aware to put yourself in a position to actually have a shot to take advantage of this incredible opportunity.
Oh, Gary, thank you so much for that information.
I'm so glad we made this happen.
100%. It's going to help so many people.
Bye everyone, good luck.